Hello, my name is Dustin Spindle, and for my current event, I have chose Russian and Ukraine tensions. I know you may not have heard, and if you haven't, there has been big issues going on in Eastern Europe regarding Russian government and Ukrainian government. This is all due to the NATO interference where Ukraine wants to join NATO, but the Russian government feels as if they need to invade rather than actually come to a negotiation. This is really important to us due to the fact that there may be a war that shouldn't happen but may, and I would like to explain to you why this is a big issue for many Americans at this moment in time. What is going on at the moment is a lot of Russian troops are on the Ukrainian borders, ready to invade at any second, with the American government not really knowing whether to trust that Russia can come to a negotiation or we must go in and defend Ukraine. So, in full summary, this event can be deadly due to how powerful Russia's government is. Russia has so far deployed 4,000 troops at the eastern border. At this moment in time, there may be a single invasion, but it's kind of up in the air. And over the last week and a half, there hasn't been a full conclusion on if that is actually going to happen. The reason why this is such a big issue is the Russian government is one of the holders of the most nukes in the world, and they have it at their table to use it at any time. And so far, the conflict has gone down due to Putin pushing some troops back, but with them pushing all those troops back, there is still very, very many troops on the sea, north, and southern borders. Now, the reason I chose this conflict is because, one, it is all over the news, and two, this issue, if not solved, I believe can be catastrophic. I'm hoping that over time we can come to an agreement. Maybe NATO will not join Ukraine at this time, but there has to be something, because this is starting to become very dangerous and worrisome for Americans and pretty much the whole world. And with that, there are some issues regarding the news articles that are speaking to the public for both countries. For America, New York Times has kind of explained to us that this conflict isn't really that good, and Biden has tried to negotiate with Putin, but Putin has already admitted that if nothing happens with Ukraine stepping away from NATO, he will invade and he will use nukes, as he has mentioned in an interview 2 to 3 days ago. I do hope that changes, but at this time it is looking very bad for many Americans and for Ukraine. Some of the issues regarding the similarities and differences between these news channels is the Russian news channel is kind of pushing away the narrative that Russia is going to absolutely invade Ukraine. They have explained it as Putin is just pulling back troops just so they can do drills rather than start a war. On the other side of that, the US government is watching Putin speak on this subject and has explained multiple times that he's open to negotiation, but he isn't open to Ukraine joining NATO at this time. And that is causing conflict because the Ukrainian government wants to join. And I think that the Ukrainian government may have to have a pause on this because the Russian government is too powerful. And another difference between the Russian government's news and the United States news is Russia's government news kind of has Putin in the light as if it is a good reason that he is doing this, when in reality this makes no sense. But the Russian news has explained that the United States is just blowing this out of proportion, and that this war, quote unquote war, as they said, will not actually happen. And it is causing many U.S. officials to not really trust what Vladimir Putin says, due to the fact that, yes, he pulled back troops while also putting more troops down there. So it solved nothing except cause more worry around the world. In conclusion, I think that this conflict is very stupid. I think that Ukraine should be able to join without the Russian government becoming upset. Nothing really is going to change besides Ukraine being able to, if a conflict happens, can get help. Because they're not one of the largest governments out there like the US and Russia. And I believe that the Russian government is fully trying to control whatever Ukraine does. And that should not happen due to the fact that Ukraine is its own government. And I believe that the negotiation will happen. And when it happens, I believe that it will be Ukraine not being able to join NATO at this time, but maybe later, and the conflict will be over. That is what I'm hoping will happen, because I truly do not see a full-on war happening at this time over something that really isn't that big of an issue. If it does happen, there will be a huge war that will be pretty deadly, but I'm hoping that will not happen. So, to those who live in the United States, just pray that this negotiation happens, and happens in good heart.